As it relates to city operations, there is no more significant component of this budget than how the mayor proposes to use and allocate the new Measure M, local return and state gas tax dollars. And it's not just because this new tax revenue, which was promised to the voters to be used to fix the roads, will finally allow the city to revive a street reconstruction program which has been dormant since the recession, but primarily because this proposal seeks to break down artificial service and project delivery silos between the departments responsible for maintaining our streets. As the mayor said in the State of the City address, fixing our streets and making them safer should not be competing priorities. They should be coordinated and integrated. The City of Los Angeles has nearly 3,000 lane miles on the Department of Transportation's high injury network and 22 lane miles of failed arterials. 43% of those failed streets are on the high injury network, and that includes streets like Bundy on the west side, Sherman Way, Van Nuys, Lankershim, and Sepulveda in the valley. Targeting those most dangerous, most broken down streets for both reconstruction and Vision Zero design will most efficiently and comprehensively enhance the quality and safety of our roads. And it will require the Department of Transportation, the Bureau of Street Services, and Bureau of Engineering to work together in a manner which most residents would expect as common sense, but in so many ways has been badly lacking. And finally, Mr. Chairman, as you have noted repeatedly and again today, while this spending proposal is balanced and fiscally responsible, we continue to face significant uncertainties, principally as it relates to federal funding cuts, potential reduced rate of return assumptions in our pension systems, and increased liability claims against the city. Those uncertainties require that we build in as much financial resilience as possible. And this budget proposal includes nearly $500 million of what I would deem to be financial resilience. First and foremost, it complies with our financial policies with $294 million in our reserve fund. A reserve fund, importantly, which we did not draw from to balance the budget this year, as we have in many years past. It maintains the $95 million budget stabilization fund. It includes a $10 million reserve for mid-year adjustments. It increases our liability claims account. It increases the base by $20 million, and it establishes a $20 million reserve for extraordinary liabilities, which we would hope and recommend we would maintain and build upon year after year, so that we won't be facing the prospect of having to borrow if we face a year of exceptionally high liability claims. And on that point, the budget does not contemplate proceeds from a judgment obligation bond. It neither counts potential proceeds as revenue in the reserve fund, nor does it book any expenditure for debt service. That does not mean that it precludes the possibility, should the council decide in the coming months to issue a judgment obligation bond. That obviously still your option. This budget does not require it. And then finally, the budget includes more than $50 million in salary and contractual services reductions across departments. And I have no doubt that most, if not all, of the general managers that will come before you during this process will ask you to restore some or all of the salary account reductions. They'll say that the reductions may prevent them from hiring as fast as they would like to. And in truth and full transparency, Mr. Chairman, given the uncertainties that we face in the coming year, that was precisely the intent of those reductions. We should build in restraint on the front end rather than finding ourselves having to consider significant service reductions or even potentially layoffs in the coming months from now. So it is our hope that the council would maintain those reductions at least until we have more clarity in the areas where today we do not. And so with that, Mr. Chairman, I would just simply like to, if you would indulge me for one more minute more, to really thank the CAO's office. It is a critical relationship between the mayor and the CAO, and I think this year we've been working as close as certainly I can remember, having been in the budget process for the last 8 years now. Rich Wellen, the interim CAO, Ben Seha, Jacob Wexler, Jennifer Lopez, Marla Gospi, Zara Berkerin, and Janelle Irving. And I'd also would like to thank the mayor's budget team, who's put in more than overtime, as they do every year, to put together the best possible proposal that we could provide to you. Starting with John Chavez, the mayor's budget director, Paul Wang, Alma Guerrero, Armando Nunez, Stephen Braldi, Andrew Kaplan, Angela Baruman, and Sandra Sandoval. So with that, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. We're happy to answer any questions now, or if you'd like to move on at any time, we're ready to answer the questions and help make this budget even better.
Very good.